Why I stopped traveling. It's my goal to travel to every country in the world, and that still remains my goal. I have a long time to do it, 60, 70, 80 years, but right now is not the time. Now it's time to focus, and if you guys have noticed over the last 5 years, most of you guys are probably new to my channel, but man, what a journey this has been. I started posting on YouTube right around the time when I started my travel, living in my car. I lived in my car so I could travel. And man, I feel like a completely different person. Like watching those videos from back then versus now. Not that it was like a good or bad thing. I think the changes are good. But I feel like it's like going from being a boy to a man. Even over the last year, coming back home, I feel like a man. Whereas before I felt a little childlike. Maybe I didn't feel childlike at the time, but looking back at myself, I realized how innocent and naive I was. But the world puts you through hell, and you get calloused, and you learn, and you grow up. And I've been doing a lot of growing up over the last couple of years, and we'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about the main reason and the main driver why I did move back home. And the reason for that is focus. I was thinking I'm either going to live in Mexico City or Nashville or Austin, Texas or Miami. Miami is not the place to live. For me, at least. It's not the place to live. I've lived there for 2 years, and while I love Cuban salsa dancing, it's not the city for me. It's not the vibration that I need to be on. Austin, Texas had really good jiu-jitsu, but one of the reasons why I came back home is, and we'll talk a little bit about this later, I value different things than I used to value like a few years back. And so we'll talk about those different things. But I was debating between Mexico City and Nashville are the main two. And I love Mexico City because it allows me to practice Spanish every single day. Mexico City is extremely nice. If you guys ever get to go to La Condesa or Roma Norte, they have great food. It's the biggest city in North America. Great people. For how big of a city it is, the people there are amazing. And just overall, like, great place to live. But the reason why I decided to move back home was primarily because I work a lot now. I was working like 10-hour days in Mexico City on my business. And I have so much opportunity in front of me in all my businesses. And, you know, my main focus, a lot of you guys know, is growing GoToLister, making it the best software for the community. And that takes so much focus and so much effort. And, you know, I'd be working 10-hour days in Mexico, and then I would go out in the weekend with some Tinder date or Bumble date. And it was great. I got great people, like I said. But, you know, years are going to pass by. And, you know, if you're a young man or woman out there, you know, time flies. And time is not infinite. We run out of time. And so I can easily get stuck in these like almost like trance-like states where I work all the time and months go by, years go by. And I really value friendship and I really value family. And I can create friends wherever I go. I can't create family. I guess I can't create family. But you get my point. So I moved back home so I could, on Sundays, I can spend time with my family. And I really, this is what I was talking about earlier in the video, I really value spending time with family and loved ones, mom, dad, sister, and some of my best friends, Keith and Ron Coy, will be coaching wrestling together. Now, this is funny enough, 5 years ago when I started this whole journey, like posting on YouTube and stuff, you guys go watch those videos. The very first videos I posted were right after I started coaching wrestling. So now I'm coaching wrestling at my high school again, which is something else I'm doing. And when I originally started this job 5 years ago, I haven't worked in 5 years. As you guys know, I've never worked a job in my life. So if you consider being a wrestling coach a job, I guess I've worked a job. But I don't even do it for the money. They pay me like $1,000 for 3 months of hard work, going to tournaments. It's going to be like 4 or 5 months this year. But I started that because one of my natural God-given gifts, I believe, is grappling. I'm really good at wrestling, and I love it. It's my passion. And so I followed the age-old advice, which is follow your passion, do what you love. And a few years ago when I started coaching wrestling, I didn't know how much they were going to pay me, but I did it for 3 months. And at the end of the 3 months, they paid me a $1,500 check. And that was so many hours. I guarantee I made like $1 an hour or something if you would have added up all the hours. And that's why I started selling on Amazon. I was like, fuck, I got to figure something else out. And I was broke as shit. And I was like, I'm going to live in my car, go travel the country. And at least I'll be able to see the world. And as I'm traveling, I'm going to thrift stores, scanning books, doing the things that I teach on YouTube now. And yeah, that was the start of all this. But now fast forward 5 years after traveling, I've been to Barcelona, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Mexico, Colombia, and I basically learned Spanish. You know, being fluent, it's like a spectrum. And one of my big goals was to learn Spanish. And now I'd say I'm like 60. I can express myself completely. I can say whatever I want. But if you get 3 or 4 people around me all talking at once, I get lost. Even songs are really difficult to understand. But I've been traveling the last few years, and I think it's been 15 months of basically pure travel. I came home for a couple months, but even that felt like travel because when you don't live somewhere permanently, you have to adjust again. And so I've been moving from Colombia, briefly at home for like a couple days, Barcelona, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Mexico City, just all over the place. And it's exhausting. It is extremely exhausting always moving places because little things you don't think about. You have to find out where the grocery store is. You have to do all these things again. But one of the things I'm extremely grateful for in a different way than before is family and friends and having them in close proximity. And I don't think I'll ever lose this, and I will try my best not to lose this gratefulness that I have for being able to go and coach with 2 of my best friends, coach wrestling every single day, is a fucking dream. You know? And I really learned this through travel. I love travel. I will continue to travel. But I learned that, you know, being able to go to a practice with 2 of your best friends that you've been to war with. I've literally been to war with these guys. We went to, I say war because we went to wrestling tournaments together, you know, growing up, and knowing their character, knowing how they handle adversity, and then legitimately being like some of my best friends. You know, in other countries, you can't just get that instantly. You don't know who people are. Like when I was in Barcelona training at the jiu-jitsu gym there, I mean, you figure out who people are pretty quickly, especially by going through hard jiu-jitsu practices with them. But you never really know, you know, and so it takes time. My point is it takes time to build deep friendships, and I'm so grateful for the friendships I have around me. And, you know, my family's my friends too. My friends here in Nashville, dozens of friends around me is such a blessing. You know, I've made tons of friends through business, through YouTube, through these events I throw, and that's fantastic too. But my point is, I'm extremely grateful now for true friendships that have taken years to form. And after traveling so much and meeting different people on the road, while I've met tons of great people, there's nice people all over, it is extremely nice to have people that you've known for years that know who you are and you know who they are and you know their character. You guys have been through ups and downs. You know how they handle adversity. You know they're not going to lie or steal from you. And you know no treachery is going to be committed on their behalf. You can trust them around your kids, your family, whatever. So I really value that. Hopefully that point kind of came across. I've been thinking about that a lot. But because I also value traveling. I value seeing new places. Like, I fucking love seeing a tree that I've never seen before. That is my favorite fucking thing. I love going to another country. This is so stupid. But when I was in Spain, I love just going down the road and seeing a species of a fucking tree. Is a tree a species? I don't know. But I love seeing, like, different bushes and shit that I've never seen before. And I am having so much FOMO now with this map behind me. You know, I want to see Australia, New Zealand, all these countries. Now I've been to South Africa. But I want to continue to travel. And I will. But now is the time to focus because I have a huge opportunity in front of me, I believe. And it just feels right in my heart and soul to stay in one place and focus. Now, this is probably actually why I'm here. If we want to, like, analyze me psychologically, I listened to a book. I think it was like quotes from Socrates or something, like different quotes he had. That wasn't the name of the book, but it had a bunch of little I think it was Socrates. But some smart ass philosopher said that to determine, or the true, I don't want to fuck this up. The mark of a man who is disciplined and who has a calm mind is a man who can stay in one place for a long period of time. And when I heard that, I'm like, instantly went into defense mechanism mode because I'm out here roaming the world. And I'm like, well, they didn't have planes at the time. They didn't have fast transportation. But I think there is something to be said about if you're trying to build something big, being in one place, not moving, doing the same things, the boring, monotonous work every single day, over and over and over again. And so that's a big reason why I'm back home, is because I want to be able to focus, and I have this whole space to myself. This is my first time having an apartment since 5 years ago. Ever since then, I love living with people too. I probably will live with people in the future, but I live with Steve Rankin, I live with Taylor Jones, and then I was just Airbnb-ing in hotels and shit after that. So it's going to be really nice just to have this space. I don't have to fucking move my camera around. I can keep my camera in the same place that it's in right now, in the kitchen, turn it on, shoot the content. I don't have to put it in a bag and go across town to a different Airbnb. And so you guys get the point. Like, I can really optimize my time, focus, and build this business, that I've been focusing on. And it's finally starting to take off a little bit. And that's really exciting. So there's a ton of opportunity out there in the Amazon community as a whole. I have Miami Sellers Conference to throw. We're going to make it bigger than ever this year. And so I need to focus a lot on that. I have a lot of opportunity in my Amazon business. And, people are asking, did you get your Amazon account back? No, I didn't get my Amazon account back, but I'm still an Amazon seller. Do the math. Figure it out. I'm creative. What did I get suspended for? Multiple Amazon accounts. Okay? I can figure this shit out. So yes, I'm an Amazon seller. Don't ask me questions about that. Don't send this to Amazon. Amazon obviously doesn't look into my case. If Amazon looked into my case, they would see that they were wrong and they would give me my accounts back. But in my opinion, they're not even really looking into it. So that's a whole nother story. If you guys want to watch that video, go look it up. But, okay. Another point I want to make is a few years ago, when I first started, I feel like I was extremely humble when I started. And then I'm watching the new kids come up and they kind of go through the same phases. And I feel like they'll go through many of the phases that I've been through. But I started out extremely humble, learned from everyone. And then I got really cocky. And you guys can see these videos where I'm just so cocky. And I'm like, how did I get that much conviction to talk about the things that I'm talking about? Bitch, you made the equivalent of a McDonald's worker selling books on Amazon. Why does your voice have so much conviction when you talk? I used to travel the country. This is when my Amazon book business started out. And I was proud of myself. I was making a full-time living from selling books on Amazon. I would go to New York, Boston. I would have these meetups and a bunch of people would come. And I would just feel like the shit. I got recognized on airplanes. I was out salsa dancing and people were like, are you that salsa dancer that sells on Amazon? I'm like, yeah, I am. I got so fucking cocky. And then really this last summer, I feel like I got humbled for the first time, and it was good. A good humbling was needed. So went from my first year doing $80,000 in sales, made less than a McDonald's worker. Second year doing $350,000 in sales. I was making six figures every year after that. And that's what made me cocky. Was once I started making six figures, got cocky, way too cocky, and my success making six figures as a 24, 25-year-old really kind of shifted my whole perspective of business. And I was like, if I can make six figures doing this the way I'm doing it, I can travel the world. I can learn Spanish. I can get really good at jiu-jitsu. I can salsa dance. I can start a wholesale business, online arbitrage business, private label business, all at the same time. I can do all these things at the same time. You can't. You can do all those things. You can do some of them at the same time. But you can't do everything I just said at the same time. I tried it. You can't. It's impossible. So I'm still practicing Spanish every day. And I'm 60% fluent. So mi gente, que hablan español. I'm going to start a Spanish podcast pretty soon for you guys. So that'll be coming out. But my point is, like, you can't do everything. And when you get a little bit of success, you start to feel like you can just fucking do everything. It's like, oh, okay, I'm making 6 figures selling books. I'm making 6 figures selling books on Amazon. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It was my thought process. And so then I started literally all those businesses I just said I started, except for private label. That's the one I didn't do. And I was trying to do like about 7 businesses at one point in time at the same time. And then shortly after that, I was like, this isn't enough, 7 businesses at the same time. And then I was like, let me just fucking travel the world and learn Spanish and do like, just fucking like, it's just too much at once, So I really value being able to sit down, focus. And again, I'm going to travel the whole world, but right now, at least for the next 12 months, this is, and probably for a few years, to be honest, but this is focus mode. You guys will still see me traveling. Don't worry. And don't comment, in a couple of years when I'm out doing my shit again around the world. But I'll be in a different place then. And right now, my place is here with friends and family. Because if I'm going to work 10-hour days and step outside, I would rather be with friends and family when I step outside than in fucking Barcelona with some random bitch. So that's kind of the difference in my mentality right now. And, I love the novelty of traveling places, meeting girls and doing all that. And there's girls in Nashville, like it's fine. But right now my focus is being home. Let's see what else we got here. I think I covered everything actually. So hope you guys liked that video. Comment below your thoughts if you guys have been through similar situations. And I just feel like I've learned a lot and I'm way more humble than I was years ago. Like if somebody meets me in person now or recognizes me out in the street, I don't like really get a big head about it. Whereas like 3 years ago, so cocky. I was like, yeah, I'm the shit. And I still feel like I'm the shit. Don't get me wrong. But I've been rocked so hard from my Amazon account shut down and all that shit. Literally like built up this business and then went to shit and then had to rebuild it, make it more stable. And then in the meantime also, starting a new business, Go To Lister, which has been, you guys don't know this, I've been working on this since 2020. So I was a child when I started working on Go To Lister. This is only 2 years after me living in my car. I lived in my car in 2018. 2 years after is when I started the efforts of Go To Lister. And so, yeah, if you guys don't know what Go To Lister is, go to gotolister.com. It's the fastest listening software on the planet. And we show you profit analytics. We are going to take over. This is an inventory lab alternative. We're going to take over the whole Amazon space with this. So, and I'm confident in that. Me and Dom, my developer and partner, that's another thing I could rant on about this, but it's extremely important to have good, honest, hardworking partners who are going to put the effort in. And when I went through my cocky phase, I felt like I could make people who weren't qualified to do the work anyway if I either paid them enough or just gave them good enough instructions, which is not true at all. You have to find competent people who want to do the work, who are honest, and who are in it for the long run. And I was working with a very bad team on the first version of Go To Lister, which is why it's taken me so long to get to the point I am. We built for over a year, we built the first version of Go To Lister, had to completely scratch it. The team that I was working with, they were lying to me. They were arbitraging the developers. They came to America. We almost shook hands. We didn't shake hands. I told them, nope, we're done, and severed that relationship. And my point there is like I value good relationships so much. And when I started this whole thing, like I literally thought I could just grind and make it work with anyone. But who you do business with and who you decide to hire, who you decide to like build this beautiful business that whatever you're working on, the people around you, the relationships you have are the most fucking important thing. And I did not realize that starting out. I realized starting out that mentors were important. I found lots of mentors in this space, and I realized, hey, my mentors need to be competent. They need to know how to make money. They need to, X, Y, Z, everything I was looking at. I realized that. But what I neglected was working with shitty people, and I've been stolen from over the last few years. I've worked with, like I said, the shitty development team. For the first version of GoToLister, we completely scratched that code. So all my GoToLister users out there, you got the clean code, you got the new developer. Shout out Dom. He helped me build this. He built the whole fucking thing. I didn't do shit. I just helped market it and came up with the idea for it. But he's an Amazon seller, and he's extremely driven, and I'm an Amazon seller, and I'm extremely driven. So I'm on the marketing side, he's on the development side, and I honestly believe like if we both focus, we can build something so special for the community and build a community. Hopefully I'll see you guys in Miami. But it's going to be a really exciting next few years. And you guys will see me traveling. Like, you might see me fucking take a trip out to Japan or some shit soon. But my focus is here, and I'm not fucking changing Airbnbs every day, hotels, all that shit. Much love, guys. Peace out.